Feel the Ad Love, a podcast produced by Radio Lounge, featuring conversations with the people in our industry who make advertising and marketing impactful and fun. Their stories take you behind the scenes on a variety of advertising platforms, where we explore current trends and topics. And just so you know, Radio Lounge is a destination for audio production services, for broadcast, for film, on-location audio experiences, and digital media. We also offer podcast training, podcast production, and distribution through our new podcast studios. Voice coaching, the production of high-end voice talent demos. Bottom line, every day is a brand new adventure in sound here at Radio Lounge. Drop by for a virtual visit anytime. It's RadioLoungeUSA.com. So I was going to call this podcast interview Life Before Exclusive, and I think that's the reason I say that is because we got to go back a few years to get to where we're at today and where we're going in the future. And one of the things that I thought of when I was coming up with questions for you, my question is, Sam Zavery could probably sell just about anything. Think of this, Sam. Exclusive motors, exclusive homes, exclusive foods. But you fell in love with the furniture business in '98 when your father, Abdul Zavery, told you to do something over spring break. Now, because this is Sam, you're not going to the beach with friends and, doing all that kind of stuff. You did something else. You went to visit your uncle in California, and that's when the magic moment happened. You said, wait a minute, this is pretty cool. It reminds me, when I was a kid, I went up to New York, to Long Island, to hang out with my Uncle Danny, a florist. And it's like, I could do this. That was pretty neat. But you found it in the furniture business. And that's where it happened, right? I mean, this passion with the industry?
Yes. So when I went to go visit my uncle, I was like, wow, this is something I like. I don't know if you have heard the story before, but he had a store inside a mall, right? And inside the mall, and it was across a women's clothing store, Forever 21, which, they have now in Texas also. At that time, it was only in California. So as I'm standing in his store, and, I keep seeing all these girls coming out of the store and everything, and they'll come and, they'll just look at the, peep in the store, and they'll leave. And I'm like, man, this is great.
So you got the women and you got the furniture.
Exactly. So I'm like, man, I'm 20 years old at this time, right?
Well, of course, yeah.
So, what do a 20-year-old boy thinks about it this time?
Well, mostly women, but not much about. But you got the connection.
Well, you have to do both, because if you don't have no money, you're not gonna get no honey.
Yes. So, but the interesting thing is, and do you have more to that story? Is that it? The women's and the
so if you want me to take it back, why I went to California, I'll go back and tell you.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
So here, let me just take it a couple of years back.
Okay.
Several years back.
Yeah.
When we, so I immigrated with my family here from Pakistan. When I was 14, 15 years old.
Was that a weird thing to be coming from Pakistan to this country at 14 for you?
Well, it was not really weird. Of course it's different.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a language barrier per se. I had knowledge of the language, but I was not able to speak it as fluently as I do today.
Yeah.
But we, when there's a will, there's a way, right? And I strongly believe in it. I told this to somebody. Someone asked me one time, "Well, can you do this?" And even though I knew I couldn't, I told him, "Yes, I could." And I was like, "I'll figure it out later." So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
When we got over here, it was great, and we started. My dad was only making $1,000. It was 6 of us. Okay, me, my dad. My mom and 3 other brothers, and sisters. So it's 6 of us. My dad was making about $1,000, $1,100 a month. Everything he had brought with him, he had bought himself a car. It was a Town and Country, Chrysler Town and Country car. You remember the station wagon with the wood paneling on the side?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So he had bought that. He had put a deposit on an apartment, and he didn't have any credit history, so the HLNP at that time wanted a deposit. Okay. And so by the time we got the lights on, the apartment done, and everything, my dad is left with 80, $90, after he got the car.
Yeah.
And so soon, he has to get a job. So he started working at a grocery store at night shift. Okay. So he was working, he was going in about 9, and he will get off at like about, I think he was going in at 8, and he will come home about 6 in the morning. And working, he was basically stocking the coolers and all that stuff at a gas station.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I had a responsibility being an older son. And one thing that an immigrant family do, they work their ass off. Excuse me, I mean, can I?
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay.
And all they do is save. They don't spend any money.
Okay.
They save. So it was humble beginnings. I mean, it was, so my mom, did some babysitting, did some cooking for people on the side, and whatever she could do. And, she didn't speak the language at all. So whatever she had to do, she got it done. So she was making $300-400. My dad is making about $1,000-1,100. So, I had a responsibility to the family that I need to do something. So I'll do odd and end thing over here. And I still remember the first job I had. This guy made me work for 4 days and never, he was supposed to pay me $300 after 4 days. Ended up giving me $80. But it was a lesson learned, right? Everything I do, I always take it as a lesson. I should have gotten an agreement with him in writing, but I didn't. But neither here nor there. Taught me a great, valuable lesson in life. I started, once I turned 16, I started working at Pizza Hut, and we were doing better. My dad was now making a little more money. Mom was making a little more money. Once I started working at Pizza Hut, that was my first job. I remember I went to go work over there, and I cried. I got out, my dad picked me up at night, and I got out of Pizza Hut, and I told my dad I'm never going back. And my dad was like, "Why?" I said, "They made me clean the restroom, they made me mop, and I burned my hand 5 different places." And my dad was like, "Well, you don't have to go to work, but if that's the attitude you're gonna take, you'll never be anywhere in life, because everywhere you'll go, you'll just quit. So I suggest you go back to work tomorrow and learn how not to burn your hands." And I burned it a lot of places for several more weeks. But it was something good that I needed to hear. And I did that. The store closed. I mean, so I knew that I had to bring some money. And even though I was working part time because I was going to school at that time, that $100 that I contributed to my family every week meant a lot. Because that was an extra $400 that my family needed. And so times were getting better. We were working and everything, and then I was working at this supermarket called Ocean's, which is a huge supermarket in Southwest Houston. Had 53 registers at one time. Walmart, replicated that same thing, but Ocean's used to run 53 registers on a Saturday and Sunday, all of them.
Wow.
Walmart never does.
Wow. Yeah.
Because there was only one Ocean, so people used to go there.
Sure.
Like crazy. One day I was there and I saw these people who are doing some promo work for AT&T. And I'm like, I went and asked them, and I'm working at Ocean. I'm making $5.15 at this time, which was above minimum wage. And so I asked these people, and they're like, well, they get paid $7.50. So I'm looking at them. I'm like, they don't work as hard as me, okay? Because, when you are a cashier at Ocean's, I mean, it was a lot of manual labor as well, because people were, buying these, 2 dozen, the 24-pack Coke and beer, and they'll take it to their stores and sell them, and you have to unload it over there, and it was a little harder, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, this is easier. I don't have no pressure. I don't have to do this, go through the speed or whatever. I make more money, and $7.50 versus $5.15, I'm basically getting a 50% increase.
Yeah, no brainer.
In pay.
Yeah.
And easier work.
Yeah.
And I love to talk to people.
Yeah.
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 So I went to work over there, and soon enough, I was making $7.50, happy. Now all of a sudden I'm contributing to my family about $200 a week, or maybe about 180 to 200, and I'm keeping the other 125 dollars. Everybody's happy. My family's happy. My dad is not by now. My dad is making about 1,800 a month. My mom is making about 1,000, and I'm contributing. So I mean, we're living pretty high now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know, instead of bringing $1,000 a month, we're bringing about close to 3,000 a month, right?
Which is big.
Which is pretty big.
Yeah.
Which is a big, huge step. In a couple of
Yeah.
years now that we've been in this country, we already tripled our income.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing good about America. If anyone wants to do it, this is it. This is the land of opportunity. That's why they say the land of the free and the land of opportunity. Anybody can become anything if they want to, right? And so while one day I'm at this standing over there, at my post, doing these the promos for AT&T. This guy approaches me and he said, "Hey," he started talking to me, and all of a sudden after he talked to me, he was like, "Hey, I want to offer you a job with our commission sales position. Same company, but commission.
Yeah.
But it's a different division." So I said, "Well, I don't want to work on commission." He showed me his paychecks. He was making, I'm over there working for 40 hours a week, making $300. Every biweekly, my check was $600. By the time the taxes came out, I'll only get about, $500 or something. And this guy showed me checks which are no less than $2,500 every 2 weeks.
Oh.
I'm like, man, this guy's making 4 times money that I am.
Yeah.
And I know he's probably not working as hard as I am. So, I mean, he wanted to get me over there. And when, a lot of recruiters, what they do is when they want to get somebody there, they promise them the world. Okay, grass is not always green on the other side until you get there, right? You're like, but the recruiters paint this picture, this rosy picture that you're going to be a millionaire right there. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So I'm like, listen, I'm going to talk to my parents. I'll let you know tomorrow. Go talk to my mom. And, I'm about to graduate out of high school at this time. Okay. The guy came to me, approached me. I think it was like about April. Okay. And my dad said, well, my mom said, absolutely not. We're making good money. You're going to go in commission? How do you know that you're going to make any money? And my dad is like, listen, you don't understand commission sales. If you don't sell, you don't earn. I'm like, there's no reason I'm not going to sell. I am going to sell. He's like, no, look, we are a great place. Let's just leave it like it is. And that's one thing that a lot of people do, right? They're like, we had a great place. Let's stay where we at.
Yeah, let's not take a risk.
Let's not take a risk. Well, so I took a risk. So I tell my supervisor over there, she was an Asian lady, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm gonna go to the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a month notice. And the reason why I give a month because I want to finish my school before go to the other place. And she became real upset. I mean, she started yelling at me, screaming at me. She was very upset. I was one of her good salespeople.
Well, that's why, yeah.
I wasn't the top, but I was one of the good ones, right?
Yeah.
And she just became really upset with me, started yelling at me, and she was like, if you leave, you never can come back. So she basically said, I will give you a week to reconsider and tell the other division, no. I said, okay, I didn't want to, her to fire me. So I said, okay, I'll think about it. Well, anyways, a month later, I said my goodbyes and I left to the other division. First day at work, get over there and everything. And this guy started talking to me. Big African guy, big black guy. His name is Kale. Okay. And he is the sales manager over there. And I see him and he's sweating profusely. And I get over there and he's like, Professor. I'm like, yes, sir. He said, what's your name? I said, my name is Sam. He said, no, your name is Professor. You are the professor. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, sir, let's go. He's like, Professor, let's go. I'm like, well, where are we going? He's like, we're going to go to the store. And he takes some stuff out of the office. And he said, let's go. He tells these other girls to follow us. We go to this Hispanic neighborhood where 100% of the population is Hispanic. It's on the southwest side of Houston, on Hillcroft and Gulfton. We go outside a store, and it's summer, scorching heat, and he takes this table out of his car, it's a foldable table, okay, and he sets it up. He puts a little black top on it, and he gives us all these paperwork, and he said, "Let's go." And I'm like, "Let's go where?" And he said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go and sell a lot of stuff." And then so everybody was coming in to speak Spanish, and I'm like, so I tell him after 10 minutes, I'm like, "Hey, listen, I don't speak Spanish." And he said, "You don't speak Spanish?" He's like, "Okay, well, go home." I said, "No, I came with you in your car." He's like, "Well, I'm going to go home in 4 to 5 hours when I'm done." I'm like, "So what am I supposed to do?" He's like, "Go home." Well, there's no Uber or Lyft at that time. I can't call nobody. I don't have no cell phone, you know. So I go to the store, make change, call my dad, pay phone. I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I'm right here, and my car is right there, but this guy got me. I'm right here, this Hillcroft." My dad's like, "Well, what do you want me to do? I told you not to go over there." I said, "Well, yeah, but they speak Spanish, and I don't." My dad said, "Son, I'm tired. I'm sleeping. Hang up the phone on me." Call back, and my mom starts screaming at me. So I said, "All right, man, I'll talk to y'all later." So I started looking at this guy, what he's doing. I'm like, well, he's definitely not Spanish, but he's writing all these orders. I don't know what is he doing. Mm-hmm. I see the other Hispanic girl, she's writing some orders, and I'm like, okay, well. So I started looking at him, see what they're doing. And so I went to him, I said, "How did you speak Spanish? How do you learn Spanish?" He said, "I don't know how to speak Spanish." I said, "Well, I see you writing these orders." He's like, "I just know a couple of words." And I'm doing it. I'm like, I don't understand. Anyways, I stood over there, watched him for a little bit. The next day, school is about to finish at this time, right? And school is not finished yet. We got end of school. We're about to graduate. So I'm sitting, we're about to do our pre-walk, and I told one of my friends, his name is Baltimore's Garcia, and this other guy, his name is Carlos Jimenez. And I said, "Hey, man, y'all gotta, this right here, this in English, can you write it down on Spanish? How to say this?" So I wrote a couple of lines, and they translated for me. And they're like, "What is it?" I'm like, "Well, listen, let's talk. Let's say it so I know how to say it back." So they started talking back, so I knew how to say it back. So I'm like, translate it. I took this paper with me and I memorized it kind of as much as I can. And I put it right there. The next day I go back to work. Oh, I called my Asian supervisor. I said, "Hey, can I come back?" No. So I go back to the general sales manager over there. Her name is Alice Gill. I said, "Alice, I don't speak Spanish." She was like, "Well, this is only a Spanish market deal." I'm like, "Well, nobody told me." She's like, "Well, you look Hispanic." I'm like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you."
Yeah.
So neither here nor there. She's like, "Well, either you can quit," or I'm like, "Well, I can't quit. I don't have nowhere to go." So I told my friends to do this for me and take it next day, start, memorizing these lines. And I'm watching Kale, how he's doing it. And so I'm like, okay, I'll start doing the same thing. So I start getting them to fill the forms, and I'll get stuck here and there, and I'll call that other girl to, "Hey, they're asking a question." And soon enough, I mean, necessity is the mother of all inventions, right? Yeah. So I'm like, man, it's cool. I made some money. I didn't make a lot of money, but like the day I tried, I think I still remember I made like about $50 in 5 hours, which equaled to $10 an hour, which was still better than $7.50 an hour.
Okay. Yeah.
So I said, well, I gotta do better. So I called my friend. I said, "Hey, man, I need to learn." He's like, "Well, watch Spanish TV." I said, "Watch Spanish TV." So yeah. So on Sunday, I turn on this TV on Channel 4 on Telemundo, and they have like some show going on. I think it was Ritmo Latino or something, and everybody's dancing and everything. And I'm like watching it in the living room, and they're talking in Spanish. I don't understand what they're saying, but I'm writing it down what they're saying. And my mom is like, "What are you watching? All these naked people dancing, I don't know if y'all remember that, but, they used to have a show where it was like they were at the beach and they were dancing there. And my mom was like, "What are you doing?" So I turned that off, and I'm, neither here nor there. That's how it all started. In about a year, I was one of the best salesperson in that office. A year and a half later, I was the best salesperson in the country.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I stayed a top 5 salesperson in the country for next 5 quarters straight.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I was not always number 1, but I stayed in the top 5.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In the country for 5, and I was working harder. I was working smarter than everybody else. I was making a lot of money. Soon enough, I'm talking about when I'm saying I'm making a lot of money, I'm making a lot of money at this point.
Yeah.
I'm making that, that check he showed me, $2,500. I go to college, but how do I motivate myself when I'm making $2,500 to $2,800 every 2 weeks? I'm only 19 years old at this time.
Whoa.
It's kind of hard to focus and everything. But I did for a while, and then in March of by December of 1997, they made me an assistant territory manager, and I was getting paid a little salary plus commission and a lot of override. And in January of 2018, okay, I had a check, one check, because all my at the end of January, it was like beginning of February, end of January, I had a check because all my overrides were coming together. You were getting paid on, if you go and sign up locations where you can go outside retail stores and put like this promotion thing, they will pay you, $100 or whatever. So, I was working, I'll get to work at 9. People will get to work, the office will start at 9. I'll get to work at 8:30, 8:45, get all my paperwork done. The meeting will start at 9. 9:15, 9:20, when the meeting was done, I was out. People were hanging around the office. They were drinking coffee. They were talking. They were going to lunch. I was already at work, okay? I was at work at 10 o'clock, and I would not stop till like 7, 7:30, 8. And I'm working every day, 5, 6 days. People are working 4 days. I'm working 6 days, sometimes even Sundays. So I have a lot of stores signed up for the whole. I had so many stores signed up that I could take my team every other day over there so it wouldn't burn down. Plus, I was giving it to other managers because I was getting an override pay on this. Every time you get it, you get a sign-on with somebody, you can get anywhere from $50 to $100 bonus. In February, I got a check, 2 weeks check, and it was $26,000.
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, what is at this time I'm 20 years old.
Yeah.
A 20-year-old kid doesn't have a lot of sense.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
There's more to this story.
Yeah, I gave my mom $3,000 because I'm like, that's what I made. And I ended up spending $23,000 within 7 or 8 days.
What'd you buy?
Everything.
Take one of everything.
I went to the Galleria. I went to the Galleria. And not only I bought myself some stuff, I bought my little brother something, I bought my friend something. And that's one thing, when money's there, friends stick around.
So how long before all of this money went away? Was it hours or days?
7, 8 days.
Okay.
7 or 8 days. If we went to the club that night, because I used to have a fake ID at that time, I spent probably $3,000-$4,000 in that, Yeah. It was stupid, right?
Yeah.
But I learned a lesson real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That you should have saved, because the next week the check was not $26,000. It was $3,000.
Okay.
The next pay period.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, I should have saved it. I should have done everything. But I was giving my mom enough money, and now we're living pretty comfortably as a family. Okay. In March a month later, after I got that $26,000 in March, okay, they come over there, they call me, and they're like, hey, listen, we need to restructure some of your pay. And I'm like,
gosh, you're making too much money, buddy.
I'm 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
What do I say? No, there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm busting my butt. No, you're not doing this. Blah blah.
Good.
Blah.
Good for you.
No problem. They took my whole team to breakfast one morning, and when we left, they're like, hey, there's an envelope on all y'all's desk. When y'all get done, y'all can open it up. And they left. And on that, it said, today was your last day.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Okay. And they reorganized the whole thing.
Yeah.
As a 20-year-old, you're like, man, you have life by the horns. And now all of a sudden you have nothing.
No.
So I'm like, okay, I start looking for jobs here and there. I went to, and you know, so I went to car dealerships, I went to other furniture stores, and can't get hired. Finally, I get a job at a bill collecting company.
Oh,
Okay, and I'm
okay.
making $360 is what they were paying me a week.
Okay.
Okay, which is $360. I'm making about $1,500, $2,000 a week. It's a big difference.
Huge.
I'm on the phone, and I'm not a quitter, but I'm on the phone after the 9th day. This old lady's just crying how she can't pay her bills. And I looked, and I wasn't really happy there. I looked at the thing. I dropped my headphone. I went to the supervisor, and I said, I can't do this no more. I'm out.
Yeah.
I started looking for more jobs. Nobody's paying me what I want to make what I was making.
Yeah.
And that's another mistake people make. They don't ever want to step down. They want to make what they were making at one time. Life might have been good. Something must have been given to them. They should have saved that money. They should have taken opportunity of it. But they wasted the opportunity like I did. Made $26,000 and blew it all in 8 days.
Yeah.
And never made that again, right?
Right. Right.
And so now I'm depressed. Super depressed.
Sure.
I'm going, looking for a job. I got another telemarketing job, paid me $8 an hour. I was already past that $8.
Yeah.
I got $8. So now I'm like, my dad is like, look, you know, you're at home. We have some money saved up. You don't need to work. Clear up your mind. I'm a very positive, upbeat guy, but I mean, you know, I'm depressed. You know, like, you know, I don't want to leave the house. I'm staying in all day. You know, not going anywhere. Just, you know, laying on the bed all day. And you know, my dad is like, hey, listen, I think you should go visit your uncle, and I'll take you there, and we'll go see the Santa Monica Pier, and you know, I'll take you to Disneyland, and you know, this and that. And I mean, you know, I'd never seen Disneyland. I mean, you know, because it was like a lifelong want to do that, right? We get there, and it was, matter of fact, we never went to Disneyland because it was raining so much that day. We couldn't get to. We went to Disneyland. It was just raining, so we never went. But yeah, you know, we went to a lot of places. Went to Santa Monica Pier. Went to the Hollywood Walk of thing, and I had a pretty good time with my dad. And my dad was like, "Hey, listen, I got to go back, but you can stay here for another 4 or 5 days with your uncle, or you can come back with me." I said, "No, I'll just stay there." I mean, my uncle lived in Loma Linda, which is in San Bernardino County, and you know, when you open up the windows, man, you'll see the mountains and beautiful. You'll see snow right there, still on, you know, and on the top of the mountain where, you know, and you can see Big Bear from there. And it was just so pretty. Yeah. You know, it was just like going from Houston to over there. It was like a different country.
Right.
Very pretty, very nice. And so you know, I'll stay over there with my uncle, and I'm like, hey, you know, I stayed at the house for a day or so. My cousins were very young, so I told my uncle, hey, you think I can go with you to your store? He said, yeah, definitely, come on. So I go with him, and I'm like, I like the hustle and bustle. I like talking with people. I like interacting. And I'm like, man, I like this furniture business. So I was standing outside the store, and I see these girls coming out of this retail shop, and they come over there, and this one girl comes and talks to me, and then the second girl comes talks to me, and I'm like, I think that's what I want to do. You know, so I called my dad. Right there, you know, I went inside the store, picked up, asked my uncle, can I make a call to my dad? You know, because long distance charges at that time. Right. He said, yeah. I said, Dad, I want to come back. I figured what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And he's like, what is it going to be? I said, I'm going to open up a furniture store. My dad said, no. That's not why I left you over there.
Oh, my.
So I'm like, okay, well, you know, can you send me a ticket? You know, because at that time, you know, we were traveling with buddy passes. You remember the buddy passes were big. So my dad is like, okay, let me call my friend and see if there's a buddy pass, and I'll overnight it to you or something like that. I said, okay, cool. So I'm over there for 4 or 5 days. Now I want to learn furniture business. So I'm asking my uncle, how do I learn furniture business in 5-7 days? So
same way you learn Spanish.
So he's like, well, just follow our lead, and you know, this is how you look at this thing. And I'm like, okay. So I get over there one day, and I'm like, you know, in California, everything is zoned to be together. All the car dealerships in one place. All the furniture stores are in one place. All the shop, you know, electronic stores at one place.
Right.
So outside the mall, it was like this furniture zone kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, there's about 8-9 furniture. It's like a furniture row. 8, 9 stores. So I go over there and start walking from one store to another. And I'm seeing what they're selling. And my uncle had told me, hey, that's how you get if everybody has this thing, it's a hot seller. So I said, okay, perfect. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, well, how do you get the price list and doing this? And I'm trying to do a 5-day crash course in furniture. Okay. And I'm like, there was another furniture store in the mall that was called the Bombay Furniture. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. They used to sell a lot of cherry wood, rice bed,
Yeah.
colonial, 18th century stuff. So he's like, yeah, this is a very good concept. They've been in the mall. That's why I'm in the mall. And I'm like, I asked him, why is he in the mall, this and that. And he basically told me, well, if you're in the mall, because I don't have enough money for advertising, but in the mall is automatic traffic, even though people are not looking for furniture. But if you're a good salesperson, you can convert them into that furniture buyer. So I said, okay, perfect. I'm going to do the same thing. So finally, get to the house in 7-8 days, get back to Houston. And I said, Dad, that's what I'm going to do. And my dad is like, absolutely not. Okay. Before we came from Pakistan, my dad was in drapery business and furniture business briefly. And he had lost everything in the 90s. Okay. He even had a dairy farm, where he had about I think like 180 or 200 cattle. He just went through the series of bad luck and he had lost everything. And I mean, it can happen to everybody. And that's why I always say, stay humble, stay grounded, save the money, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is never promised to anybody. Tomorrow, when I say tomorrow, I mean life, the lifestyle, the wealth, the money, everything can disappear. Because I've seen it disappear from my dad, right? And that's another day. I'll tell you, how bad it was for us. And I'm still grateful. My dad has passed on, over 10 years ago, but still so grateful that my dad, brought us over here.
Yeah.
And, introduced us to what life really should be.
Yeah. He taught you so many things along the way, and he was an important part of the start of exclusive furniture as well. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm like, Dad, I got to open up. So we had drawn out fights at home. A lot of quarrels, a lot of arguments, me throwing temper tantrums, not talking to him, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to start looking for a store, right? And I'm going to every furniture store. So this is in March, right? I'm going to every furniture store. I go morning to night, I'm going everywhere. Every small shop, big shop. I'll stay there, man. I'll just keep going over there. I'll take people with me and I'll write notes, and I get in the car and write notes and find out what style they have. And there was not a lot of camera phones or phones back in the days, but you just got to write notes. And then I'm constantly looking at Yellow Pages, who's the importers, who are, wholesalers over here, and go and visit wholesalers. And I'm just, first month and a half, I'm just spinning my wheels, The whole April, all I did is study furniture business. Okay. The whole March, rest of the March and April, so 40, 45 days, every day at a furniture store. When I say every day, I mean every day. Yeah. 7 days a week. 10 a.m. till the store's closed.
Whoa.
Okay.
Wow.
I was at every furniture store. Name it, and I was there.
Wow.
Yeah. Fingers, Gallery, Buy Right, Landmark, JJ's Furniture World, Sleep Shop, Star Furniture, every store.
Because you can't understand the business, any business. I don't know whether
affordable
it's
furniture. Yeah.
Affordable, yeah. But you can't understand the business until you know the business and you do the research in the business, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And I'm watching people's habits.
Yeah.
What are people coming over there? How are the salespeople talking to the people? Because this is not the door-to-door sales that I was used to in AT&T. This is a different sales. Face-to-face selling. People are coming to you. You're not going to people. The habits. Financing. I didn't know anything about financing. I had to learn. I knew about layaways because my uncle had taught me. But I'm trying to find out how people do layaways in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay? What kind of furniture they carry. How do they deliver? How do you pick up? All that I had to learn, And I had to learn that before I opened up my own store. So now in April has gone by, I started looking for stores. I'm like, I want to have the same demographic that my uncle did. Hispanic market and in front of a women's store. Mm-hmm. And I found it at Alameda Mall.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hispanic population.
Yeah.
It was right in front of Express. So I go to this guy, his name is Bill Russell. Rest in peace. Great guy, right? And Bill has passed on, right? And Bill looks at me, and he's like, Sonny, how old are you? I said, I'm about to be 21. And he said, I don't think so. You look like about 16 or 17. I said, no, I'm about to be 21, sir. And I'm going to open up a furniture store and this and that. He's like, I would love to lease your store, but I'm not leasing it to a 20-year-old kid, anything. And I said, well, why? I'm going to pay you the rent. I'm going to pay you the deposit. I'm going to pay you everything. He said, no, because if you're going to come open up over here, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to close. I'm like, Mr. Russell, all due respect. I'm going to be here. I'm going to commit to you. I'm going to be here. Whatever happens, I'm going to be here. I said, no. He said, do you have a dad? I said, yes, I do. He said, well, tell your dad to come over here.
Go sign.
And talk to me.
Yeah.
So, of course, I go talk to my dad. And you know what the answer was?
That was an interesting conversation, I'm sure. Yeah.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
A couple of days go by, and I'm panicking because I had told Bill that I was going to be there in a day or two.
Yeah.
2 days gone by, we arguing, heated discussions. Dad says, no, he's not going. So Dad is like, Sam, you need to go to school, son. Be a lawyer like you wanted to be and have a good life. Why do you want to be in business? Because when you're in business, you're a slave to your business. You're going to work that. You're going to sleep, live, everything. And it's very stressful. And my dad said, I didn't come to this country, for my kids to open up a business and be a merchant. I want you to educate yourself, and in South Asian countries, education is everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want you to become a lawyer, engineer, doctor, something.
Sure.
Right? You don't want to be a doctor? Fine. You don't want to be an engineer? Fine. You want to be a lawyer? Well, be a lawyer. Do something. Mm-hmm. I said, Dad, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go to school in the morning. I'll go to school. I promise you, as long as you let me get this store.
Yeah.
I said, I promise, man, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
You don't understand. We're going to be so rich. And my dad is like, son, it's not cut out to be like that. You think you're going to be so rich. It doesn't work like that. You're going to be working umpteen hours. How are you going to study? I said, Dad, have you been to furniture stores before? There's nobody in the store ever. Man, I'm going to have so much time just to study. So, all right. Finally, he's like, all right, you win. I lose. You're going to go to school. I said, I'm going to enroll in school. I went and enrolled, everything. I had saved money. My mom had saved some money. So I had about $27,000 saved. And it was not enough. I needed 40. So my mom loaned me 13. My parents put 13 in there.
Sure.
And so we started with $40,000, right? I finally got this place from Bill. So Bill had to go take it to this fellow called, his name was Terry Felton. Terry's still the general manager at Alameda Mall, and me and Terry are really good friends, right? And Terry's a great man, right? And Terry is against it, against the idea. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Mr. Felton, please, listen to me. It'll be good. So Terry's like, okay, fine. How are you going to load? How are you going to unload? I'm like, listen, I'm going to make it whatever it is. I'm going to follow your rules. I open up the store on June 18, 1998. But before June 18, it's time to fill the store. So they lease me the store in June 5th or 6th, something like that. I have to pay the rent for the whole month. So my whole goal is to get this thing done, open it up, and let's go,
Sure.
So I can sell.
Sure.
It just so happened to be June 18, 1998, which is my sister's birthday, June 18th, too. And Exclusive Furniture, this June 18th will be 22 years old.
Whoa.
Right?
Wow.
So we get over there, and, I'm bringing furniture inside the mall. He had told me not to do that, and he is pissed at me.
Yeah.
But anyways, neither here nor there. We opened up the store. First day of the store we opened, I remember how much we sold.
How much?
$39.
Whoa.
I sold a Lizard CD rack.
Okay. This is not a good start.
Well,
Okay,
but I believe in it, right?
Right.
So
right.
we got 12 days going on. We ended up selling $5,000 or $6,000 that whole month.
Sure.
The next month it was $12,000. The next month it was more, and then I found out there's a clearance center across the street. It only opens on Sunday, and people are lined up over there. It opens 12 to 6, and people get there at 9:30, 10, and they line up, and they fight to get in the door.
Whoa.
Someone told me that. I'm like, I can't believe it. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
So my uncle came to visit us from California. He saw that I opened up the store, and he wanted to come see it. So he takes me to one of his friends, and his friend is telling me, my uncle is like, yeah, my nephew opened up this furniture store. If you ever need furniture, he's like, no, I bought this from this clearance center and opens only over there. This guy's telling me, and I can't believe it, what he's saying. Like, people bum rush in this place.
Yeah.
So I get over there the next morning. Of course, I work at 12 is when I open up the store. So I get over there at 9:30, right? And I get over there at 9:30, and I tell my brother, please come help me. I'm going to go to the store. The store got to open up at 12. So if you can open it up, let me go check this place out. So I get over there 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I'm like, there's lines of people. I'm like, this is crazy. Okay. I'm selling $2,000, $2,500 a day on Sunday. There's lines of people. I stay right there, and I'm watching. I'm not in the line, but I'm watching people. And before it turns 12, people are trying to break the door. It was a sight like crazy. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I get over there, people are running, and people run, and they'll grab a sofa. This is mine. And they'll lay on it. They'll grab the bedroom set. They'll lay on it. I'm like, oh, my God, what is this? This is crazy. This clearance center was owned by Fingers.
Ooh.
Finger Furniture.
Yes.
And I'm like, it was crazy. So I start talking to people, and, I'm doing this. I'm like, this is insane. So I go back to the store, and I'm depressed. I'm like, I'm only selling less than $2,000 a day. I'm going to be here all day. And there's hundreds of people over there. So I'm thinking, I'm like, what am I going to do? So I get on the computer right away and start making myself a flyer. Okay. And I can't wait, to put out the flyers because my brother was there that day with me. He was now my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I'm like, I'll be back. So I make these flyers. By that time, it's about 3:30. And there's very few cars left. So I go out and I see some cars and I start putting the flyers on top of these cars. Well, people who got there later didn't realize everything was gone already.
Okay.
So when they got back in their car, they drove to me.
Yep.
And so that day, instead of like $1,500 to $2,000, $2,500, we ended up doing $4,000.
Whoa.
People came from there and we sold some furniture. I'm like, wow. So Monday, I go to Kmart, Home Depot, other furniture stores that are in the area, and start putting flyers on their cars. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. So I did that in the morning. I did that in the afternoon. I did that at night, in the evening. And where I was selling $800, $900 a day, now I'm selling $1,500, $2,000 a day. So I'm like, okay, I started doing that every day. Well, the next Sunday, I still remember. So I told my brother, I'm like, hey, you come work with me again. And me and you, and then we had this one girl work with us. We get over there, we do the flyers, but this time I start putting out the flyers at 12 o'clock, at 11:30. I start handing it to people, putting it on the cars and everything. We ended up doing $11,000.
Oh, my gosh.
And we weren't doing that like in 15 days. What we were doing in a day.
That's huge. Big
so
change.
I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
So, and that changed my life, right? I'm putting flyers every day, putting flyers, everything. And I mean, that's how I'm like, man, this is it. Power of advertising. Okay. And so I came to this philosophy. If you don't invite anybody to your party, nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to show up. You can have the world's best margarita that Bruce makes. Okay. The best barbecue and the best cake and everything else.
But if you don't tell somebody about it.
If you don't invite nobody,
yeah,
nobody's coming to the party.
Wow. One thing that so many different things about you, and this really is Life Before Exclusive. This is going to be a 2-part interview. We're going to do this in segments here, and I want to wrap up today. Man, you fast forward a couple of decades here, and you see what's going on with Exclusive. But the one thing that remains from the things that you heard Sam talk about is an incredibly high work ethic, someone who understands that if you want to make money, you want to do something and make something succeed, you have got to work hard. You've got to believe in it. You've got to be smart. You've got to listen and see, and then you've got to go do. And I'm not sure, as we talk about generational things and such like that, there's always the entitlement generation and so on and so forth, and that's got to be a tough thing. We can talk about that sometimes. But you didn't come from there. I see family and the important part of family. I know you're very close to your mom and your dad, and they're both influential. I go back to the Pizza Hut story. He says, you don't like the way it is? Go back there, because life is going to give you a whole bunch of crap, and you better be able to take it and go back and figure out how to get it better. Yeah. Sam, you've done that. Wow. I want to continue this podcast and continue this story while we take you, into 2020 and beyond, because now, if you don't know Sam Zavery, now you understand how a furniture store can come into this market and grow from a location in Alameda Mall to all of these locations around the city, and that is what is making this place successful. And we're going to talk about, I want to talk about in our next podcast, I want to talk about the people that you interact with at the store, the thought process as you move forward. You have a great story to tell, and it was just your birthday a couple of days ago. Yes. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll tell you one thing. This dude, if you don't know him, celebrates life, celebrates positivity, and celebrates a way to get things done. And man, we could use a few more of you guys in this world. So Sam, thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well done, my friend. Well done.
Thank you.
So there you have it, part one. Hope you enjoyed the conversation, and there will be more conversation with our good friend Sam Zavery at Exclusive Furniture. Thanks for listening to Feel the Ad Love. Visit us at RadioLoungeUSA.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Do that, and you will never miss a new podcast. Your rating on iTunes will also help us grow. And don't be afraid to share what you've heard today on social media. It's good stuff. Until next time, come to the lounge and feel the ad love. Copyright 2020.